Hey there, Auxly traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today's Thursday. It's May 15th. Hope you're well. And in this video, we're going to be discussing Auxly's strong start to the year. Their Q1 2025 earnings came out today, so we'll review those. And then toward the end, we'll take a look at the price chart, what to expect in terms of the price action in the days, weeks, months ahead. But spoiler alert, it is looking very, very bullish for the company from a technical perspective and also from a fundamental perspective as well. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only, and I do own Auxly in my portfolio. Very, very bullish on it long term. I think there's going to be a lot of potential here with this company. And if you haven't seen my interview with the CEO, Hugo Alves, you can check that out as well. You can also follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. Speaking of X, Auxly did post earlier today, so you can follow them over on X as well @Auxly Group. So we're proud to share a strong start to the year. Net revenue was $32.7 million, down a little bit quarter over quarter, but due to seasonality, we're heading into still a strong start to the year, and we're heading into the busiest time for MJ, right? Running rate until to the fall essentially. But their net revenue was up 29% still year over year. Adjusted EBITDA, $7.4 million, up 232% year over year. And gross margin of 48%, up 10 percentage points year over year. So well done to the Auxly team. Back 40 continues to lead as the #1 MJ brand in Canada. And they give some graphics as well. I've tried these vapes, the Collab Project. And I think the all-in-one vapes, they've sold over, I think it was like 3 million units or something crazy. But they've been very, very popular, and you're starting to see a lot of other competitors come out with similar all-in-one technology. But like I said, great start to the year. If we take a look here, there's no estimates. They're still relatively under the radar, not really much analyst coverage, so we didn't have any estimates. Let's just see if there was anything on TradingView here. Yeah, no estimates. So we'll see as the company gets bigger. Might start to draw some of these analyst estimates and attention. But as you can see, typically, from March to May, you see that little bit of drop off in seasonality. And next report will have 420 sales. And as we know from High Tide, one of the biggest retailers, they said that there's been a lot of sales just on that weekend. So I think it was like over $6 million worth of sales just in that weekend alone. So it's going to be an interesting report coming up, and going to be interesting to keep an eye on the results here towards the end of the year. But I think that we're crossing a chasm here. We had positive EPS, came in at 0.01. We scroll down, you can see here positive 0.01. So their net income was 12.111 million. Overall, great quarter. I went through the MD&A, the management discussion and analysis, pretty quickly, and didn't really see anything that stood out, so not really much to go over there. Cash at the end of the quarter, we'll take a look at that. So 17.112 million. Debt, they did pay down some of the debt as well, so they reduced debt by another 5% from the end of 2024. We scroll down here. Excise tax continues to be a third. If we scroll down to excise taxes here, 16.543 million, and they had 49.212 million gross revenue, and excise taxes accounting for a third of that. So we've just learned that there's not going to be a 2025 federal budget here in Canada, so it's looking like excise tax is not going to see any kind of reform or improvement, switch from a flat fee to a percentage fee. That's more than likely not going to happen this year. If it did happen, I would say it's more than likely going to be a 2026 or 2027 story. But they're working on going from one, and we talked about this in the interview with the CEO, Hugo Alves, as well, in my interview that I did, that they're working on a national stamp. So right now, these companies in Canada, these producers, they have to work with 13 different stamps for different provinces and territories. So they're working towards having just one national stamp, so that it cuts down on just the overall burden. It takes a lot of time, it's time consuming, and also cuts down on cost. So that's something that we can look forward to. And like I said, there should be some improvements coming to excise tax, I would think, but it's more than likely going to be, and I've said it for a while now, it's probably going to be around the same time the U.S. sees, rescheduling to at least Schedule 3 and 280E goes away. They're still sitting at over 1 billion shares, so about 1.3 billion shares outstanding. Overall, it was a great report. Like I said, the margins, super impressive. And cash flow from operations of $2 million, and cash at the quarter end, like I said, $17.1 million. So overall, trending in the right direction. We'll take a look at the chart here. So we are just under 10 cents. The level to break is going to be 10.5 cents. If we break that level, then we break to a monthly higher high, and we have no price resistance on the monthly until 35 cents. We're gearing up for the first ever monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. Those are basically crossing now, though. You can see how close they are. And once that happens, we could easily break to a monthly higher high here and easily be at that 20 cent mark in a hurry. We're almost approaching monthly overbought here on Auxly. So this is definitely an outlier in the space at the moment. A lot of names were close to monthly oversold, like BFF just coming off monthly oversold, but a nice bounce. This gives us some confidence, though, that the rest of the sector could start to see a similar move. Tilray closer to oversold than overbought. High Tide, you're sitting right at the middle. CGC, like I said, very close to monthly oversold. So this gives us a little bit of a clue here that we could start to see other names start to follow a similar pattern. And yeah, we're sitting at 60 on the RSI at the moment. So anything 70 and above is considered overbought, but what an entry it was there on monthly oversold, right? If you know nothing about technical analysis and you just plop in this RSI indicator, anything 30 and below is considered oversold, and anything 70 and above is considered overbought. So if you bought it down here, we were sitting at 27 on the monthly RSI, and keep in mind, it's the monthly time frame. So it takes a long time for these bottoms and tops to form when you're on the monthly time frame, but what an entry there at a penny. But stock was down 99.6% from all-time highs. So even just going from the all-time high to where we currently are today, we're still down almost 97%. So 99%, 97%, that means there's still a lot of opportunity. But I was able to pick this thing up closer to a penny. I've got an average, I think it's around 3 or 4 cents now. And this is Canadian on the TSX. But off of the low there to the high, it's up almost 10x, 1,000%. But if you're able to get it closer to a penny, 2 pennies, you're looking, if this thing were to go back to all-time highs, that's a 300x opportunity. That means $1,000 investment. The most you can lose is $1,000, and the upside is literally like limitless. The sky's the limit. If it goes back to all-time highs, that would turn $1,000 investment into $300,000 if you were lucky enough to scoop it up there at a penny. But most people thought it was going to zero. It's at a penny, so it's basically already there. So unless you think the company was going to cease to exist, or the industry was going to cease to exist, that wasn't the case. So I was shouting from the rooftops that I thought that this was one of the best opportunities in MJ based on how beaten down we were. But from a percentage perspective, even if you were to add it now, and I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or hold, but that's a 30x. So $1,000 investment now, if we go back to all-time highs, would be worth $30,000. But big difference, right? Getting it at a penny, and it makes sense, right? Penny, 10 cents. So you would just do the math there. So either 300x or 30x, because it has since gone up 10x. But overall, this is a very, very strong chart. On the weekly time frame, we're still bullish. We just had a stochastic bull cross, so we're back in the bull column there. We're above the 10-week moving average. The MACD was set to cross bearish, but we avoided that for now, and we're back above all of our weekly moving averages and all of our daily moving averages. So this is a great signal that when you're above all of your moving averages, it shows that there's tremendous strength. And one thing I want to highlight here as well is not only do we have the first ever monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, not only are we in a monthly uptrend, which most names in the space are still in monthly downtrends, we could see this the 50 weekly moving average and the 200 weekly moving average cross. They're a couple pennies away before they cross now. So I'd say this could happen over the next month or so. But it's looking like we're going to see a massive move here on this stock. I would not be surprised at all if we were back up to around that 20-cent mark, maybe even 25 cents over the next couple of months. But this is looking really, really good. Very, very strong. We know that Canadian LPs are really starting to turn a corner here. We had positive net incomes for the quarter, so love to see that. EPS positive 0.01. And a lot of, like I said, a lot of LPs are starting to turn corners. And Auxly is one of those names that has massive growth capacity. And as different MJ companies look beyond Canada, you know, that's a big focus right now in international, because we're seeing that those markets boom. And it's really helping these Canadian companies. And I've said for a while now that, you know, what is this? What is big alcohol? What is, you know, big imperial brands? What is big tobacco? What does big alcohol know that most retail don't? And I think personally that LPs are going to start to eat these MSOs lunch. Not to say that there won't be opportunity in the US, right? There's going to be winners and losers both sides of the border and beyond. But, you know, we have to learn what we learned in Canada, that, you know, there's going to be a lot of competition. There's going to be price competition. There's going to be suppression. There's going to be the illicit market's still going to be thriving, right? So if we don't cut down on those prices, the illicit market will thrive. People will just go back to the illicit market. But ultimately, it just takes time to weed out, no pun intended, and figure out who the real clear winners and losers are. In Canada, we have a very clear differentiation and understanding now of, you know, who the real winners are going to be long term. We have a pretty good idea, at least from a top 5, top 10 perspective. Whereas in the US, it's really up in the air. We really don't know. And there's probably going to be a lot of surprises there. But I don't go sleeping. I've said for a while now, don't go sleeping on the Canadian LPs. And, you know, even Aurora, when you start to see this sentiment shift, right? Even Aurora, a lot of people are saying that the company is fantastic, right? It did 2 reverse splits in a row. So if it did 2 reverse splits, it's a penny stock, right? The price should be in the pennies, right? It should be at like 5 cents or 6 cents on any given day. But because they did a reverse split, it's sitting at a few bucks, and people don't even realize that. But the fact that, you know, people are bullish on Aurora now after an absolute destruction of shareholder wealth, and tons of dilution and 99.8% downside, like most names. The fact that people are starting to turn bullish on even a name like Aurora is telling me that we're really about to turn a corner here in the MJ space. And I think the next couple of years are going to be very, very telling, especially for the Canadian LPs. All right, let me know what you think of this in the comment section below. There's no conference calls, so they do the letter to shareholders. I discussed this on the interview with Auxly. They might look to bring those back soon. But as of right now, you can check out Auxly website for those shareholder letters. All right, let me know what you think of this report in the comment section. Like I said, we'll continue the conversation there. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and we'll catch you on the next video.